Often one of the trial and error moments of building a business is, and does cost a lot of money when you get it wrong, is hiring the wrong people and managing people within your team. Today, business coach Jamie Goral shares with us two very important strategies on both recruitment, hiring, and then also how to manage your team members. Jamie, why business coaching for you?
I grew up a business owner parents, and I saw everyday challenges. I saw stress. I saw crying. They still gone on holiday and we ate, but I just saw this stress every day. My parents are divorced. There was two businesses. So my mum's business, which was hairdressing salons, and my dad's business, which was a chain of shops that sold cots, prams, and buggies. And so I went in one household, saw the stress. I went in another household, saw the stress. And my brain was like, how on earth can this be better? How on earth can this be better? So this led me to think, well, how can I help SME business owners like my parents? So I went into accounting. So I thought that was the answer, because at the time, business advisors were accountants. That was it. That's all we knew. So I went into accounting, and I became, got the degree, did my professional exams, worked for a central London firm which specialised in SME. So I was in an SME business every 2 weeks doing auditing, tax, accounting, etc. And I learned a hell of a lot. But one of the things that accountants aren't great at are sales and marketing. So there was a big gap. So I was in accountancy, then I became financial controller of SME businesses. And then my final journey before becoming a business coach, I went to a business that was making a 6 million loss. And I joined as financial controller. But there were so many things, so many problems. And the CEO at the time brought me aside and said, look, I need you to be, I've seen what you do. I need you to do more. So he basically put me in every department 6 months at a time, and which would basically help turn around each department to move from a 6 million loss to 1.5 million profit over 6 years. And then we sold the business for 20 million. And then I discovered ActionCOACH, world's largest business coaching company, a massive wow moment. This is like, this is the thing that I've been looking for in my life. I only just found it. So, buying the franchise was a no-brainer. I remember saying to my wife, it was 9 o'clock one night, saying, just checking out this ActionCOACH thing. There's a guy, Brad Sugars, the founder. I'll be about an hour. I'll just watch a couple of videos. 4 hours later, I was like, this is it. This is it. This was April 2013. This is it. This is it. And so off I went and I bought the London territory.
It's interesting, Jamie, what you shared about growing up in two family businesses that were struggling. And how did that shape your mindset around business? Did that kind of put you off?
No, I was determined to find the answer, because you always had stories, Richard Branson. There were people doing well. And I love learning. I'm very curious. I want to know. I want to find this answer. It was almost like life's mission. I don't want anyone to suffer like my parents suffer. I want them to realise their potential through their business. I also enjoyed business. I enjoyed learning about business strategies. I enjoyed learning what works about business. So it really drives me. It's one of the most interesting things. Even now, even though I've been doing it a long time, and been coaching since April 2013, I'm still, any new idea, anything, I'm on it. I'm on AI. I'm on marketing. Even now, the hunger's still there.
It's interesting what you said about, your role as a CFO, and it's, you find that it's just so much more than just accounting challenges that business owners have. Is that kind of what led you to business coaching?
Yeah, because also the journey of, in ActionCOACH was also helping me learn the things I wasn't great at. I had to learn the sales and marketing piece, which I realised was a big gap, which you didn't get from accounting. So, and also you get to learn more about team and leadership and management, etc. Again, something that accounting didn't teach you much about. So now I kind of feel 12 years in that I'm pretty strong in all of the areas needed, and I get tested every week by every client, and I enjoy those tests.
So speaking of tests with clients, so what's an example of your latest test that you've found?
So the one that gives me a lot of joy is when I met George. This is the latest one. This is one that's just sticking in my mind at the moment. George was doing 12-hour days. He was ill. And and his business were doing okay, but he was really ill. And I actually thought, if I don't help this guy, I don't know what's going to happen. He was, literally bedridden a lot of the time. So I met with him, and he's like the most genuine. He's a very talented guy. He's a genuine guy. He's a nice guy. He's got, strong connections with the church. He's a real giver. So not only just helping a person, but helping someone who's such a giver for his community. So I sat him down, and I said to him, look, there's two ways we can do this. You need systems. You need a team. We can either do the sales and marketing to get the money to do it, or do it first. There might be a dip in profits first, but we'll get it back and you'll get good growth as well. And he said, no, I want the team and the systems first, and I'll invest. And obviously I guaranteed his return. So anyway, so the journey resulted in, we looked at his week, we looked at the systems, we put systems in place. We worked out what team he needed, and we hired them, and I helped him very closely with the interviewing, and also how to lead them, how to manage them, etc. Literally all the things. I think one thing in coaching, you've got to spot what they're good at, what they're not good at, and help fill in the gap. What is in their way for good growth, and really help them with that, and also help their teams as well. So anyway, we ended up with like 300% growth, and he went from 12-hour days to 4-hour weeks, and suddenly his symptoms were a lot better. He was managing to. He's got a passion about going around the world and doing public speaking to help Amazon sellers, because his business helps Amazon sellers sell more, and he was able to do that a lot more. So I just was so happy for him, such a genuine guy. And I'm not a doctor, but the way I think we can change lives is through business. So I don't have quite the achievements that a doctor has in saving lives, but this is the thing I can do.
Well, the end result would be the same, right? Who knows what track it would have gone down otherwise.
Yeah.
Do you find that theme is there a common theme that you, from working with all the businesses that you have over the 12 years, is there a common theme that most business owners are really finding challenging?
I think there's different. The business owners I work with are always good at something, and they're not good at something else. And the thing that they're good at varies. So you'll get a business owner that's great at selling, so you don't need to help them with that. All you need to do is maybe make them accountable, and maybe sometimes help them develop and train a team to be good at selling. Some of them are good at selling, but not good at leadership and management. Some people are bad at selling, so in which case you have to help them with that. Often, the one I've come across recently, and it is delegation. So I've got a client, and so there's quite a few examples of this. I've got a client; they're like absolutely amazing. They went from zero to about 30 million in about 5 years, and delegation was in the way. So they were sitting there, they were stuck. So I basically helped them free up about 30 hours a week each, because they're two partners, just through analysing what they do and helping them through the steps of identifying a person step by step. How do you delegate it? How do you check in? How to make sure it's the right person, the right languaging, the right checking in. Also using things like this to communicate properly with the right personality profiles. Also letting people learn and make a few mistakes that aren't business threatening, so they grow. Also developing people by, showing them what they can get in the business in 3 years, and showing them how that plan will happen to motivate them and keep and retain good staff. And they've freed up 30 hours each, and now they've gone, was that about a year, 30 years ago, now on a run rate of 100 million. And so, yeah, but these guys are great. They've got up to 30 million on their own, and they've gone 32, 35. And having the opportunity to work with them over the next bit was just phenomenal, because they're very humble. They learn things incredibly quickly, and just amazing people to work with.
So 0 to 30 million in 5 years.
Yeah.
That is just like crazy numbers.
Yeah.
I don't want to, I think we need to kind of really flesh that out. That's a massive growth. What was the key? Yeah. And obviously now they've even grown beyond that.
Yeah.
What was the key? Like, you've obviously been helping them kind of.
I helped them from 30 million onwards. They did 0 to 30 million without me. I only met them at that point. Yeah.
Okay. So you helped them get from 30 million to, where are they now?
100. So run rate of 100 million.
100 million. Right. Okay. And what were the key kind of areas that you really had to focus on with them?
It was just mainly the delegation, management, and leadership, everything around people. The sales and marketing, they were geniuses at, so there's no point. Maybe a bit of accountability, but yeah, it was just literally that. That was their blind spot, just that. So the whole coaching was just on that.
Yeah.
That's what I love about that business. I'll have an hour with them, and then the next hour will be sales and marketing on someone that's not good at sales and marketing in a completely different industry, completely different personality type, in a completely different country.
So delegation, I mean, that's a big one, isn't it? That a lot of businesses have a challenge with, or owners have a challenge with, and management teams have a challenge with too, is delegating to their team the things that need to happen. Why is that?
I think because no one teaches them. There's no. You go to school and it doesn't really help you with anything to do with becoming an entrepreneur, a business owner. So a lot of people do a business, they find an idea and they get good at the idea. Like if they're a plumber, they know how to change a boiler, but they kind of realize on the job and by having problems, and some of them get it and some of them don't. Delegation, they end up just working silly hours. They hire a team, but they're not working hard enough or giving them the right job or giving the instructions properly. So basically it's because no one shows them, and they don't even though there's information out there, they don't know where to look, what to ask, how to find it. So they need people like us to give them that push and that guidance to help them, to show them the way.
So for business owners listening that feel like they do have a challenge, well, they've got a time challenge clearly, and so to help them with that, to win back more time, it's about delegation. What are the tasks that they're doing that they can delegate to their team? What's some strategies or first steps that you can help answer for business owners listening?
Sure. So the first thing is analyze your week. So that's something we got called the Skills Fund Matrix, and what it basically does, you basically write down in a delegatable chunk. So you don't put like sending emails, because that could be to a customer, a supplier, a team member. You'll put like management, customer relationship could one of the headings. You could put supply relationships. You could put selling, lead generation, and work out how many hours a week you have on average on that particular area. Then score 1 out of 10 skill. Skill 1 is low skill and skill 10 is high skill. And then fun. Fun 1 is you hate it. And if I took it off you, you love me. And number 10, fun, is you love it. And if I took it off you, you'd hate me. And the low skill and the low fun is the things you've got to look to delegate first. So you'll say, actually, is there someone in my organisation that I could train to take this chunk off me? Then you plan, how do you do it? What do you train first? What do you train second? How do you test that it's for them, both in terms of their interest and their skill set? And if not, you then work out you need a new hire, and then you'll have to then you commit to writing a job spec, getting a recruitment process going, and start recruiting, and then get yourself a cash flow forecast just to make sure that you can get that return investment quickly enough, and you have the money to wait. So it'll take time to find them, train them. There might be 1 or 2 mistakes on the way. So these are the steps that I follow with my clients to help them go through that delegation process.
And how often do clients think, oh, they don't want to recruit a new team member, it's a cost to the business? How would they get their return on investment for that cost?
Yeah, very good question. It comes up quite a lot, and I get to some people procrastinating over it because they're really worried. But what I find is once you give them cash flow visibility, and then you give them the steps, say, look, this is what I'm going to do. Now, for instance, I have had this with a few clients that when it comes to getting the general manager, when they've got to a good place and they just want to kind of do something else or have a passive income for their business, they get really worried because the general managers are really high cost. So I say to them, can we just go through a journey and you can pull out any time? Step 1, write a job spec. You're not going to hop, an hour of your time, no money spent. Step 2, put a job ad live. Okay, you could get an agent, which is no win, no fee. You're not spent any money. Put it live. Again, not spent any money. Step 3, let's start interviewing. And what I found is if you do step 1, you can pull out. Let's do it. Step 2, pull out. Then they go through it, and then they meet someone they love. And they go, yes, I'd love them in our business. It's like when you buy a house, you see the kitchen, you buy it and pay over the odds. So that's what I've seen happens. And also the recruitment process is a research process as well. You'll learn about different people that you never would have thought of and different skill sets you might need for the role by actually doing this recruitment process. So the clients just love, I enjoy it, and the clients love that journey. And sometimes they might not hire someone, but the learnings they've got will help them really think through that actually this is the next step, and it actually helps fill their knowledge gap and it makes them comfortable after making that step. I know one thing I say is, look, you take someone on for the long term, but if it doesn't work out, often they start on a week's notice or a month's notice. So you're only ever investing 1 month's salary at a time. So there's not such a huge, it's basically breaking it down to give it into small steps to make it manageable. That's the thing I found works really well.
That's a really good trick. A good exercise to do. Like, how would that hurt, just to go through those 3 steps and start talking to people that you have applied for the role, and you'll certainly learn something along the way. And so how do you get around that? I know for me, it was always one of those things with my business. It was, I would sweep the floors. I would do all of the things because I had this mindset that I'm saving money by doing it myself. How do you help business owners get around that?
Really good question. And yeah, and I've had that quite a lot. Basically, I'd say, let's look at how much you'd pay someone to do that job versus how much you'd earn by not doing the job and doing something that is higher value. We do the maths, effectively sweeping the floor. It could be like, £12 an hour. But if you're actually going to go there and hire a team that generates 2 million with a profit of, say, 400,000, you doing the second thing is 400,000 a year versus maybe 20,000 a year. What would you prefer, 400,000 a year or 20,000 a year?
Mm. And so when you get them to do the task exercise of where they spend their time, do you then add up what those items are in terms of, cost or value?
Yeah, I think the main thing is we do the skill fun. So that does equate to value. So low skill, low fun, we do those first. And then the one with the next score, we look to do those next. And that does equate to a value, as in an hourly rate as well, which you can put that in. I put that in if the way the client makes decision, that helps them. Sometimes you can add that and it confuses them, especially if they're not necessarily great with the number side of things. If they're high C's, absolutely, there's numbers all over it. But if they're like high I's or people that are not great with numbers, then I just do low skill, low fun, because then otherwise it's too confusing.
So let's say, what's an example of like a fun thing that people choose generally that they love doing?
Some people love selling, and they want to have some client relationships, and they find that's fun. It's 10 out of 10. If I took that away from them, they're taking away the thing that they enjoy about their business. So what we do is we say, okay, we're going to get a sales team, but there'll be a few clients that you look after. Because that's what you enjoy. And I say to them, do you want those clients to be a dependency on you? As in, when you're on holiday, does something go on, you'll need to take the call? Or would you like it that someone else has managed them, but you can have some involvement? It might be a PR lunch twice a year or something. So we try and work out exactly what the client wants so we don't ruin their fun.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And so you've mentioned DISC, and you talked about the high C, the high I.
Yeah.
For people listening that don't know what DISC is, and most people do, can I have a quick overview of what that is for our listeners?
Yeah, basically, it's a behavioural management tool. It helps understand any relationship you've had where it's not been easy, and sometimes it's difficult for you to understand each other. So what it does, it classifies people into there's 2 types of categorization. One is, are you either outgoing or reserved? The other one, are you generally task focused or people focused? And the people focused and outgoing people are the high I's. People like to talk a lot. I've got a video on this, actually. Go to YouTube, type Jamie Goral DISC. I've got a 30-minute video on this for anyone that wants more detail. So those people are high I's. So they're people where they like to talk a lot. You need to listen to them. You need to hear their stories. If you shut them down, you'll lose them. You'll lose them if you're selling to them. You'll get to them. You've got the high D's then, which are outgoing, but also task focused. They're very to the point. They like to make quick decisions. They like to be the best. They like to be the first. Donald Trump's a good example of a high D. Likes the status. And then you've got the reserved people that are reserved. You've got the person reserved that's people focused, is the high S, don't like change, like to go things slowly. If you're selling to them, you'll need several stages. You need a lot for reflection points. They need to know that the change is minimal. And then you've got the reserved people that are task focused, which are high Cs. And those people like accountants and architects. Literally, any contract you give them will be analysed for grammatical errors, full stops missing. They want 20 testimonials before they even take the first step. So again, it basically means you've got to, the way you communicate has to change based on the person in front of you in terms of the way they like to process information and what they see as important. If you don't, you only end up selling to people like you.
It's an incredible tool for you in business, but also in your relationships, isn't it? I mean, it's good for you as a business owner or leader in an organization to know and understand yourself, as well as then, you know, others in your team, and then your customers or potential customers in the marketplace.
Absolutely. I introduced this to a building client I had, and he just said, "You've just saved my marriage."
Wow.
He understood all the arguments between him and his wife. And he then took the tool back to his wife. We did a profile for him and his wife, because they were in business together as well. And they just looked at me and said, "You've just halved our arguments." Because they understood why each other was doing what they're doing. And what's powerful in business is also, this will help with team relationships as well as customer relationships and supplier relationships. There'll be less friction everywhere.
Yeah, so unless you're a person that's doing, you know, all your selling online with no interactions with any team or any customers, this is a very critical part of the coaching journey.
Absolutely. Because relationships is everything. And if there's the way of making relationships stronger, especially with people you don't actually get on with, there's a win for everyone.
Yeah. And so let's say, you know, once you've been working with a client, you've helped them with that, win back some time, they've hired team, and the next phase of delegation, what does that, you know, let's say they've hired and they're ready to let go of some things. What's the process now?
Well, it's listing in order what tasks you're delegating and when. And then just going through that. You have a plan. It would just be incorporating all of the plans, just to do that step by step, and then just help them with the implementation issue. Delegated this, it went wrong. Why did it go wrong? Is it you explained it badly? Is it you didn't give them enough reflection time? Is it you weren't communicating the right way to the way that person likes to be communicating? You know, using this tool as you just described. So just helping them with all of that until we've got to a place where we've freed up the owner's hours. They can do the next thing, which could be global expansion or the next site or something. And then the next stage after that is to train their manager delegated to on how they can delegate to people they hire under them to enable the growth. So I've enjoyed doing that. I've worked with this waste disposal company that's tripled. Yeah, they've tripled their business in the last few years. I think I'm up to about 19 million now. And I've been really enjoyed. I helped them take on a head of sales a few years ago who did really well. And now I've enjoyed the fact that he's now got an assistant. And as well as teaching the directors to delegate to him, I'm now teaching him to hire and delegate his assistant. So it's really, really great being through all of that journey.
Yeah, so if you've got a business owner that loves sales and is really good at selling in their company, how is that different than recruiting someone to replace you in that role? It's, you know, is it more important that you find the right person? Because sales is pretty critical for the business as opposed to somebody that maybe does accounts payable or receivable, or someone in another more operational or front service sort of role.
Yeah, you need to get the right person. So you need to have a thorough recruitment process. And so often I help clients with this. I find a lot of clients are just not tough enough interviews. So I actually do the final interview with them and ask questions they haven't asked or were too scared to ask or whatever. And some people react badly.
What's an example of that? What kind of questions do you ask that most business owners don't?
Okay, so I'd look for sales. It's quite easy. So I go back 5 years and I say, okay, so why did you join that job? What salary were you on? Providing it's legal to ask that. Someone told me it wasn't in certain countries. Where were you in the league table of salesperson? First, second, where did you rank yourself? How many were there? What did you do differently to what the person better than you did? What do you do differently to the person that worse than you did? And from what you get from that is how good they are. And anything they're trying to bluff, often they'll kind of, when you get to the detail side, it gets a bit phasey. So you get an idea that potentially they're not totally being truthful with you. Another really crucial part in recruitment is you have a call with the ex-boss and find out when you ask for that, how quickly does the mobile number come? How quickly is the call? And does the person match what they said in the interview? And I've had people exit the process at that point. And to me, all I'd ask the client is say, actually, if you've done a good job for someone, would they not be willing to actually get on the phone to someone to help you in the future? And if you haven't, then they wouldn't.
That's so true. I actually had someone call me on Friday with someone that was in my team previously, and it was a reference, and I just said to them, if you don't hire this lady, you're crazy, So yeah, that's so true. If they're not willing to come up with the phone number and the reference, then that's usually an interesting sign, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And it's and I've seen people I thought were great, and suddenly they just went off the radar the minute, and you just think, why is that? If someone's got a gap in their CV, you don't know why that is. It could have been they were fired and didn't want to tell. It could have even been in jail.
So most business owners often forget this part of doing the reference checks. What are some questions they can ask previous employers?
Okay, so what I asked them to do is, when you've done the interview, write down the risk areas that you identified and maybe hone in on that. So you obviously ring the person up, you say, okay, just to let you know this, well, actually get the candidate to set it up. They have to set it up. So the candidate does the call with the ex-boss, sets it up, etc. And you basically just say, okay, just saying, can I just ask, when did they work for you? What role did they do? Why did you take them on? What benefit do they bring to you in your business? What are their development areas? And then what you do is give a description of the kind of business that you are and what you want them to do, and ask their opinion on what you'll need to be careful of and what you need to help them succeed in this role. What are the kind of risk areas of it not working out for them or you? And just get their opinion on that. And that can be really helpful, because then it also flags something early on to maximize the chance of it working out. So I found that process worked really well. And I've done it several times over the last 12 years. Must have done it hundreds of times now. And I just, really honed it in.
And I think it's a massive advantage also, isn't it, when you have somebody else doing an interview with the business owner and the candidate, just having that third person there to either ask the questions or observe, because there's things that you don't see the first time round.
Yeah. And often my clients realise that they just weren't tough enough and they weren't thorough enough. And it's actually explained half of their hire mistakes in the past the minute they see this interview process.
Interesting. And so then the next phase, they've chosen the right candidate, we hope, and then onboarding that new team member. What do you find are kind of the key mistakes that business owners make when it comes to onboarding team members?
Not being thorough enough. So being really clear on what the job is. What does success look in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, 2 years? What kind of goals are they going after? Also integrating with the rest of the team, having time with the rest of the team to get under the culture, understand who everyone is, how they work, what their personality style is, what their job is, how it fits in. People generally aren't thorough enough with this. And then you end up with a problem because this wasn't done.
It's interesting you mentioned disc profiling as a tool also. How can we use that in recruitment?
We can get a disc assessment, and then it can be part of the information set to hire them. So, for instance, if you want someone that's going to be focused, maybe in the office, it's good attention to detail, you do a disc profile, you want to see a high C. If you want someone that's going to be selling or customer services, they need to possibly be a high I, because good with people, where high Cs are generally not great with people. So it just gives another piece of information to help you decide that you've got the right personality for the role that's in your organisation. What is it that's important in that role? What's not important? And are the important things covered?
Yeah, and often you don't see these things, do you? Because if you're a high I, as an example, you're not recognizing that in the candidate or in the particular role that you're looking for. What is that perfect profile for that specific task or role that you're hiring for?
Sure.
Yeah.
No, sure. So sometimes you don't see it, or because you're so focused on other things in the interview, you miss it.
Interesting. So where have you seen this go wrong?
What, people hiring the wrong candidate?
Yeah. Without your help.
I've just seen not calling the ex-boss is the biggest one.
Yeah.
Often good skill set, but bad fit. So I find they'll hire someone for an SME business that's got great experience working for a 5 billion multinational, and they haven't really taken into consideration that it's a different job in an SME. And people that work in SMEs love the fact it's fast growing, it's a smaller team, you have a high impact, but you have to do lots of things out of your job spec to do that. And that's not everyone. So often I find it wrong is people go for the shiny, global national, but actually you're hiring the wrong person.
So you mentioned accountability earlier on. Accountability, what does that mean to you as a coach?
It means that the making sure that the client does the work they committed to doing to give them the life that they want in the next few years.
And
step by step.
How do you do that as a coach?
So we make sure that they document what they've agreed to do, so it's clear, written by them, so it's clear. And then in the accountability sessions, the first thing I do is say, you committed to this. Let's go for the first thing. Please update me. You get a response. It's either done or not done. If it's not done, understand why. Was it something more important come up? Or they didn't prioritise well? Or they're disorganised? Or something else? And it's about really understanding the reason why things weren't going to be done and fixing it. So if it's because they're not great organising, so help them with that. It might be something they don't enjoy doing, in which case, so let's be honest about it. You don't enjoy telemarketing. Okay, me too. I don't enjoy it either. Let's go and hire a telemarketer. Just commit. Just agree. Let's be honest. You're not going to do cold calling. Fine. Let's hire someone, and we'll guide you on recruiting and managing that person to results. Just identifying the reason why. Because if the work they commit to get the growth they want, the life they want, isn't done, the journey doesn't happen. So accountability is the way of making it happen.
One of the things that I've kind of always, been interested in is, I certainly have this belief system that that you hire people that are better than you for certain tasks, right?
Sure.
So telemarketing, let's use that as an example. If I don't enjoy it, I hire the best telemarketer that's a lot better than me. How do I know versus the other mindset of I have to know, learn, create the SOP, the systems, then I know how to hold someone accountable, or I know how to train, I know how to look for gaps?
Okay, so let's give an example of telemarketer. Now, I've got a team of 4 telemarketers and a BDM, so I've done this several times. I just want to share with you what we do. So, so the accountability side is mainly the goal we have is one appointment for every 8 hours. So we recruit them using the recruitment process I did. One of the things we do on stage 2 is a 10-hour trial. They've got to book one appointment, and we listen to the calls as well. Everything's done on VoIP, so we can listen. And if they do that, we then got the job. And it's basically trying to get that appointment ratio on average. There'll be bad weeks, there'll be good weeks. It's on average. And if they're not doing that, we look at different things. So number one, how many dials per hour are you doing? And if that's not too low, understand why it's too low. And is it a behaviour thing? Is it that your systems at home, etc.? The next thing is what are you saying? Are you conversational? Is your listening good? Is your emotional intelligence not good? And if there's a gap there, it's helping them upskill. It could be a book to listen to, it could be a course to listen to, videos, or also the thing really works is role play. So doing lots of role plays to get the skill level up, to get them back to the level. We then look at everything. Is the data good enough? So look at every single step. That's marginal gains. It's looking at everything. that was in the way. Good data, good telemarketer, motivated, call listening, and also accountability to numbers, number of appointments booked. So how long does it take to book one appointment? How many hours it takes? So really look at those things every week. The person knows you're looking at those things. They'll know what they're going to ask you, and then if they've got the skill set and the work ethic to do well, they will then do well. The only question is, how long is it going to take, and is that time frame acceptable to you as a business owner?
Yeah, so what I picked up there is that you definitely still are managing the team member. You've got KPIs, and you're kind of managing the process and the steps along the way, versus hiring someone, outsourcing the task and hands off, which often, that's where it can go wrong, right?
Yeah, you can do outsource. Like the people I've got are self-employed. They're managed by my BDM, but you can have someone out external, but you still manage them the same way. There's still a weekly or fortnightly line meeting. There's still KPIs are looked at. Certain calls are listened to as well to find development areas. It's the same process, whether they're employed or self-employed.
What's a line meeting, Jamie?
Line meeting is it's a one-to-one meeting that does several things. Number one, it enforces accountability. Number two, it gets rid of bad people quicker. And number three, what I've seen from all my clients and all the other coaches whose clients I've introduced this concept to, it generally quadruples productivity in about 3 months.
What does LION stand for? What's the
program? So it's the agenda for the meeting. L is last week. So it's where they write down what they're doing last week. I is issues. And you basically want to hear their issues first so they feel heard. And then you share the issues that you have with them, either what you've noticed or another team member has told you or supplier's customer told you. O is opportunities. You want them to come up with an idea for the meeting. Because what we found is when you introduce this, there's a load of ideas that people have but don't share it because they're not asked. So it forces you in this meeting to share ideas. And we had some of the best ideas come from the lowest ranked people. And then N is next week, is what they're committing to between now and next week. And really smart goal orientated, like next week I will sign 5 clients. I'll make 200 calls. I will get the job ad live. So really specific thing written down. And generally found that this process is best if they write it down on a Word document or an email and then press send at the end of the meeting. And then we can then refer at the next meeting to what they committed to. And they know that what they committed to under next week will be checked again what they said they'd done the following week. And then we'll ask them, last week, you said you'll do this. I've not heard you talk about it. Please update me. And we just find that process gets rid of bad people quicker and just accelerates good people to excellent a lot faster.
That's an awesome management tool. Yeah. Great way to manage a team. And so one-on-one with each team member is what you recommend?
Yes. So you need to have an org structure where you've got, supervisors, managers, senior managers, directors, generally no more than 1 to 7. If not, you need to rejig the org structure. And then everyone has one boss and everyone meets them either weekly or fortnightly. But the most important thing is it always happens. If you miss 2 meetings, you've lost 3 months of momentum. So whether it's on the phone, on Zoom, in person, it happens. And the minutes are recorded by the lower ranked person and they're sent. And if you just do that, the results would just be phenomenal. I've had people that they thought were bad turn good over this process.
Yeah, I was just going to say, have you got some examples of where you've seen that?
Yeah. There's the one was I was working with this this marketing agency, and they'd about to fire someone. What it was, they weren't really communicating with them properly, and they weren't understanding how they work best. And we put them through this process. They became a shining star in their process. Because one of the things you need to do in this meeting is let the employee talk and tell you what they committed to, how they went about it, and what the result was. And you just listen and ask good questions. And by doing that process, it also helps with a delegation as well. It's a tool to help that will accelerate delegation.
And do you do this with business owners or leaders in organisations, your clients?
Yeah, I'll do it with everyone. One of the first things I do if they've got a team is make sure a process like this is in place, because otherwise everything you do is 20 times harder. There's an efficient way of delegating tasks, accountability, and visibility, then anything introduced is going to take 10 times harder. So we have to do that first. It's like the baseline of under time mastery. So make sure it's done first, and everything you do after that is a lot quicker.
Yeah, I think you can easily start to see some patterns unfold if they're showing up to the weekly Lion meeting or fortnightly, and you're seeing a pattern of behavior where they haven't achieved the things on their plan. If not, why not? And you start to see some of those gaps that you can then performance manage.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. And you can find out the reason not doing it. It could be that you need to manage them differently, they need to do some learnings, or they're the wrong person. They're a bad fit. And some people that were good for you 5 years ago might not be good for you in this stage of growth. Obviously, you do things the right way, the ethical way, and you find that normally if they're a bad fit for you, they're a better fit for someone else, and everyone wins. It's just doing that process quickly and respectfully.
Some great tips there. Thank you, Jamie. So, best business book for you and why?
Never Split the Difference, Chris Voss. I think the key to most things in business is emotional intelligence. And a lot of people are lacking. And that book is the best I've ever seen on emotional intelligence.
Best mentor or coach for you throughout your career?
I've been working with James Vincent for 12 years now, and he's been phenomenal because, his emotional intelligence is incredibly high. I think that's one of the key things. So he'll spot things, he'll spot my blind spots easily. He'll tell me in the right way. And now he's helps my team as well. So yeah, phenomenal guy.
Best piece of advice you ever received?
Listen more. Sometimes wait a bit, listen more.
Great advice. Jamie, thank you so much for all the learnings today in today's episode.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Michelle Adams, your host here. Hats off to you for committing to your learning by listening to this podcast. And if you'd like some help implementing some of these strategies, then click the link in the description to find your local action coach. They can help you put these strategies into action and take your business and your life to the next level. In the meantime, like and subscribe so that you're the first to get our next episode. We'll see you soon.